Okay, we're on. Today is July 30th, 2018. Get ready for the Emergency Broadcast System, the Forbidden History series. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Now's the time to call your friends. We now interrupt your normally scheduled programming to bring you this very important deprogramming program. Special thanks to YouTube.com for hosting the Forbidden History series. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the real publicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, twice a day, 7 days a week on therealpublicradio.net, on YouTube.com. That's the Forbidden History series and Free America Radio Network. And we have a great live history coming up today, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by for the broadcast. Still looking for that audio check. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network. Around the world and in your home, in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's the Forbidden History series. The great late planet Earth, the great tragic story that she is. Going down in flames. I'm your host, Desert Owl. We are the deprogramming program here, because it's a battle for your mind. The truth is light, and ignorance, it is darkness. And these are the great antagonists, the one against the other. But once we can begin to comprehend the true nature of things, then we can begin to comprehend that there is nothing more to complain about. There is an answer. But to find the answers, we need to find the lies, because when we find the lies, then we will find the truth, the light. The one who doesn't want to know the truth is merely a slave who doesn't want to be free. And so for some, they just simply don't know where they're going. And therefore, any road will get them there. But you are here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You wanted to know the truth so that the truth would make you a fugitive. Well, congratulations and welcome for tuning in. The common individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous and so great, he cannot even accept that it actually exists. And welcome to the Forbidden History series. I'm your host, Desert Owl, a bird who sees in the night, ladies and gentlemen. Glad to have you. Hoping to do our little part to help make it a better world. It's a tragic world, and and we're all drinking too much fluoride, and we're all being mesmerized by all the flash and the pash and the flash and the pan and all that sparkle in our eyes, from this modern society. But tonight we'll finish to read in the Archovium. I was reading the letter of Gamaliel, who did the. Good morning, Ninja. Good to have you. And so we were reading the investigation by Gamaliel, the priest, for the record of in correlation with so many of the visions and signs that had occurred. And so there's always this investigation that had been going on with Yeshua, and so it's expressed rather profoundly in here, and we get another view of our Redeemer as he was on Earth. Okay, so that'll be tonight, and I've got some more of the piracy of words, the words that kill. And but right now we have by the way, a reminder again, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time tonight, for the first hour, I'm bringing on an old friend, one of the best law researchers in America, okay, that has been in the trench, and she stands alone in the courtroom, and has helped a lot of people at the same time, especially dedicating all of her time to making her discoveries public for the benefit of others, what they couldn't research or have time to do. So Melody Gillespie, Mel's Bar and Grill, where we cook up attorneys, and I get mine well done and thrown out the back door when it's all when they're all done with them. So yeah, Mel's Bar and Grill, that'll be tonight, okay? And then her friend and my friend David Alan David will be on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and he's going to be bringing us the introduction to the ancient cult of five and its existence in our modern world. So that's going to be one of my special programs. And good morning, Jedi. Good to have you. Hope you're doing all right. And Lou the Cat. Okay, good morning, Lou. Sounds very cool. Praise Yeshua. Okay, and so yeah, I'm trying, and I want to get Mickey Paletta on, who helps people with the mortgage issue, because we have friends out there losing their homes, and so any way we can help, with our forum, to allow a friend to have a platform to help save other lives. That's always been a part of my my agenda here. So I want to get Neil Price on as well, ex-attorney, genius. Actually, they told him, Neil, you got such a good score on the first legal exam. We don't want you taking the second test. I mean, you don't have to. Okay, you're in. Okay, so they figured he's so smart he'd see the scam by the time he got to the second test. And Mew Mew, good afternoon. It's morning here, afternoon out there in England, where MI6 has already filtered all of our news coming into America. Yeah, it's the British intelligence up there in yuck, UK, where they're actually heating off the charts now. So hot. I hope you're having record temperatures up in your part of the. I think you're in England, Mimu, but Mimu. So let me know, and hope you're doing okay. But yeah, record temperatures all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. Right, 20. What was it? Dane Wigington reported on his Saturday program that 126 degrees in Africa, the hottest record ever recorded in Africa, 126 degrees. Um, I'm doing okay, Mew Mew. Thank you. I was. Are you? It's 9:17 a.m. What? A.m. 9:17. Where are you located? I thought you were in England. Okay. All right. So anyway, the great lies of history. Let's move on here. I think I got all the business covered. Other than, if you have a great lie of history and you want to call in, um, and tell the lie that you discovered when you know the truth to the particular issue, then go ahead and you can call in as well, 608-566-7295. But if you have a question or comment as well, then love to hear from you. 608-566-7295, or you can Skype us from anywhere on the planet, practically, at Free America Radio, all one word, Free America Radio. And you can also text with questions as well there. And then, okay, and thank you for putting the word question in all capital letters, or my name in all caps when you're trying to get my attention, or if you have a request, just put that word request in all capital letters, and then I'll see the basic message in upper and lower. Okay, and don't forget, you can get a copy of the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary. I'm going to do a short read out of it in a little bit, and all right, and so define a lot of things in there, and it is available for any size donation. Okay, if you want to get the the PDF version. Okay, 300 pages, 8.5 by 11, color graphics. It's a novelty. Okay, so but anyway, the great lies of history, ladies and gentlemen. We the way you can see the charade if you just like look in and then look out at the same time. And good morning, Teresa. Good to have you on the program here. And I've got to move the song out of the way. Hang on, this thing doesn't help. I can't read the board. Uh, Come on. There we go. Come on. Okay. The question is, were we really the first here in America in everything? Right? It was like, every next civilization they make has to look a little better, a little more like legitimate freedom, look a little more independent than the other versions. Just like Greece was the new world order of its day, Persia, the greatest empire that ever was on earth, the biggest empire ever, taken down by the little ragtag city states of Greece. Um, and then the other examples, like Rome, and then everybody can get free bread at the Colosseum, or whatever stadium they were at. They get free bread, and all the wealth of the world was pouring in that Rome had robbed, creating this phony commercial utopia, and yeah, okay, good. I'm glad you got those. I sent you 2 emails, I think, Jedi. So I hope you got them. Thank you. And yeah, certainly hope you enjoy them. We so when they're creating their next, new Atlantis, that Francis Bacon apparently was commissioned to write the script for our 500-year cycle. Um, so the way and I'm going to give you a perfect example of how they're doing it again, 500 years later in China, which never was China, but I'll end with that and show you how they follow a different trend. But the people living there, and for the people living there, it must feel really, utopic, because that's what they're attempting to do, is to create another type of utopia. Sounds like euphoria, but like we're better than everybody else and all that, right? And so my question is, were we really the first in everything? The first in flight, first in telephone, first in the light bulb, first with whatever first we had. That they tried to make like the internet, when it really came out of Switzerland, is first with the U.S. also. That's why we got the .com, but then everybody else gets the .uk or the .au, after their country. But we have the com. We got the com communication. We didn't have to have the U.S. So there's this pattern then, or just like the first radio, signal again. So So when we pierce through the veil in all this illusion of we were the first this, first that, first this, first that, the truth is we weren't first in any of it. Any of it. All a big lie. It was to create the illusion that we're better, smarter, brighter, or whatever. And it was a lie, but because they had to make, this red, white, and blue this time around when, the French flag is red, white, and blue, and the British flag is red, white, and blue, and the Russian flag is red, white, and blue, and there's all a bunch of them, red, white, and blue. But, they had somebody else in their nation that was inventing a telephone or a light bulb. They were totally disconnected from us. But if we take it back to the beginning, then we've got to go all the way. And it goes back into the Hindus and into India. And really everything, even flight especially, came out of India. Okay. They had the anti-gravity. That's where the word industry comes from the beginning, the Indus Valley, the 5 rivers, the land of the Sind. So the truth is, it was all an illusion to try to create this motif of America being better and more, special than everybody else. So Wright brothers, the first to go across the Atlantic, Charles Lindbergh, right? First everything, and so now that we're going down, and then we were first in everything supposedly, but we're like the last one on the planet. Rather interesting. Think about that. But anyway, so let's look at China. They overthrow the nationalist Formosa, not China, but called Formosa. And good morning, Lynn. Good to have you. So yeah, we had no problem. Well, we were friends with nationalist China, and they had still had the emperor back then, and they still had a very, very profound culture that was basically preserved and pure, other than the periodic overthrows that always seem to occur. But so I, having worked with a retired intelligence officer and always got an inside scoop on things, then I somehow, read some of the intelligence reports on how we, not me, but, the United States Inc., USA Incorporated, betrayed nationalist Formosa, China, and then basically established a communist regime. What was the first head of it? What, Chairman Mao? Or, I get confused between Chow Mein and Kung Fu, but the first big leader, and that's when they invaded, Tibet, right? That's when the Dalai Lama had to escape. They actually invaded Tibet and said Tibet was always China. Give me a break. And they destroyed 5,000 temples. 5,000 temples in China to destroy our history, our world history, our sacred legend of our past, our ancient scriptures, the Shultras, the Vedas, or whatever tradition was hiding in there about our origin. So not only weren't we the first in everything, but now they're making China the bigger and the better than everybody else. That's the New Deal. So this upstart now that's coming along, unlike us that had the first in everything, the grand illusion, nobody outside America bought into it, but the Americans bought into it really well. So now China is going to have the bigger than everybody else, the biggest dam, the biggest satellite dish, the biggest river, the biggest wall, the biggest government, biggest military, you name it, okay? The biggest landmass. But so everything in China, which is, by the way, a code word for Cana. China is Cana. There's the cane all the way wrapped around the world now, went all the way through the west, back at the east, full circle, Cana, for Cain, the Canaanites and the children of Cain, in this, that's why we have kings, because king is Cain. Kong is king. Cain, Kong. Okay, these are all spins of the same word, going back to the ancient primitive culture when the children of Cain, fell, were stained with the stain of blood, red hair, and spots, and then the Aryans who fell, the Watchers who fell, came down and decided to conquer the world using their Canaanite military. That's why when they go to England, they get knighted. It's a silent K. The silent K stands for Cain. Okay, keeping up with the Jones. That's a full-time occupation, absolutely. And so there's the great lie of history, ladies and gentlemen, and they're doing it now in China. The Chinese people think, yeah, we're bigger and better. Yeah, we may be small people, but we build them bigger and better than everybody else. So somebody better not mess with us, and give them this big ego trip. But I guess they also know they've got the biggest, worst government probably on the planet as well over there. I'm sure they do, right? Anyway, you see the technology, how they got them controlled. If you're not a good comrade, then guess what? You don't get to fly. You don't get no bonus miles. No bonus miles for you. And so what is history? Back to those words again. It is silent story, ladies and gentlemen. A silent story that you never hear. You never hear because they didn't want you to know. But that's what we tell right here. And so, yeah, absolutely. And let's see here. So where are we going now? Okay, we're going to pick it up in the before I do the reading, I wanted to pick it back up and do our book review on the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary. I just wanted to cover the next few words in the Pirate Sea because we've got to hear it, see and read it for ourselves, and know that the game is the grand illusion, and we're being pegged for our mind. They want to control our thinking in this duality of patterns and pictures, and as Confucius said, signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor law. Excuse me, I'm going to cough real quick. I got to mute out. All right, and I hope everybody's doing okay out there. Is China where they have that brand new, huge, empty city that it could be? There's one in Mongolia, I believe. And good morning, y'all love out there in Germany. Hi to the best channel with its best audience. That's sweet. They can't control our hearts. Well, that's true. But sometimes they make it hard for us to love our enemies with our heart in the right way, or I don't know. But all right, we're back in the Pirate Sea of Words. Excuse me. Just waking up over here. So we're on the word Constitution, and as symbols rule the world. Now I'll show you a symbol in Constitution. Write the word Constitution down in all capital letters. Okay. Because the last symbol, capital N, on Constitution is a symbol that means that which came down. That's the prime symbol of nail, N-A-I-L, or nal, N-A-L, or N-A-Y-L, the I coming down, the I, the naya, the naya. The N at the end of Constitution, if you take it off, because we know about the U.S. Constitution, or how they always talk about, let's write them a constitution. They always want to give somebody a constitution. Only thing I ever saw it do is create constipation for everybody. But so nonetheless, if you take off the N, then you get constitutio. Okay, constitutio. And so what is a constitutio? It is an imperial decree. So there's your Roman civil law. And so all that constitution means, with the letter N at the end of it being a symbol implying that which came down, constitution is nothing other than an imperial decree and a corporate creation of a political state. On the definition I wrote here for constitution, one, the articles of bankruptcy for corporation. That's out of a 1700 dictionary from the 1700s. America has been officially bankrupt. A ruptured ship of state since the late 1930s, and perhaps since the Civil War. Not too civil. Oh yeah, that was the War of Northern Aggression. That's right. If not from 1812 or its inception, maybe. 2. An imperial Roman decree, as in Constitutio. 3. A little constipation, maybe. Yes, it was, and it still is sometimes. C. Con, where is the S sound coming from anyway? Yeah, that Constitution, Tion. Yeah, give me a break. That's the sword they put in the word. I got a cough again. I'll be right back. All right, and welcome to any of our new listeners that are out there. I know we have people that continue to come in and go Jordan program. You are tuned in right here to therealpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. I'm Desert Owl, and a bird who sees in the night, and have been looking into our ancient past and the great mystery of history. And history is Welsh, and it means silent story. You can hear the serpent hiss right in the beginning. Hiss, hiss, the silent story. Hiss, I guess, like shh, shh, right? Another way of doing the hiss with rearranging the letters. The silent story. And that's what history is. The silent story. The serpent story, ladies and gentlemen. Teresa. All right, give it a shot. That's right, Teresa. Okay. Contempt of court. A coercive tool of a judge. You better believe it. Contempt of court. So the first thing you want to ask that guy is, okay, so what is the nature of that law? Because he pulled it out of thin air. There is no law. Contempt of court. A coercive tool of a judge. When someone told that they would be held in contempt, they point blank, told the judge / administrator that they wanted to know the nature of the charge when charged, because there is no contempt of court. The judge more than half the time simply moved on when challenged on that issue, if he never brought it up. C. Intimidation, a system equal to that of the old Soviet Union. Read the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. A prosecutorial system, all stacked against the victim, that is, the one who falls into their legal trap. Excuse me. Okay. And corporatocracy. The corporations under the Vatican are running the nation's policies, all by special favors and a special secret handshake. Did you get a fair shake, ladies and gentlemen? Did you get a fair shake? Did you get a milkshake? Did you run into Shake Your Money? Yeah, that was a interesting character. Shake Your Money. Remember that one? Okay. Yeah, we basically created the Islamic wealthy state, didn't we? Every time we bought a tank of gasoline, that was a way to build another nation, right? Yeah. Well, we destroyed our world at the same time. Okay. So when in court, one, arguments are for fools. Okay, learned that at Right Way Law here in Ohio, back last century, and Jack Smith and Rick Schramm had Right Ways Law, and they determined finally after hit and miss that arguments are for fools. Okay, you don't go there arguing because you must be a fool if you don't know. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still chasing my throat, Ninja. Thank you. Uh, 2. When in court, some say, I notice that this corporate office is in commerce. I do not accept your offer. I do not consent to this proceeding. I reserve all right. I cannot make any legal determinations. And by the way, has the prosecutor, excuse me, forgive me. By the way, has the prosecutor placed a copy of his indemnity bond in the evidence file? Um, uh, when asked, do you understand the nature of the charges, those who understand this trick question respond by saying, I don't understand anything. See, understand. So this statement, is powerful in its nature, and I'll be glad to read it one more time for all of you. Okay, powerful in nature. You need to know the nature of this definition. When in court, 1, arguments are for fools. Period. That's Jack Smith. And 2, someday, or some say, I noticed that when you're in there being, dragged in on your heels, I noticed that this corporate office is in commerce. I do not accept your offer. I do not consent to this proceeding. I reserve all right. I cannot make any legal determinations. And by the way, has the prosecutor placed a copy of his indemnity bond in the evidence file? They don't want you asking that. When asked, do you understand the nature of the charges? Those who understand this trick question respond by saying, I don't understand anything. See, understanding. I read that earlier. Covert house. Word courthouse, originally spelt in the Latin with a V, therefore spells covert house, and you see it on all those buildings around the country. Desert, you need honey and lemon. Thank you. Yeah, I need to take that. Many of the so-called courthouses in America have the Latin, evidence of the Vatican Hindu rule. Terms covert house. Now, when pronounced correctly in English with the V, it becomes covert house. Secret, in other words, secret house, house of secrets. I think this is true. See the sell, excuse me, see the sellout of our fellow man by these very wicked deceivers. Money, power, and special favors corrupt totally. Oh, and then that next wonderful, infamous word, craft. The craft. Yeah, they're crafty, all right. Craft in Middle English means treason. No kidding. So if you were of the craft, then I guess you were of the treason. Middle English. 2, witchcraft. That's a good question. 3, the crafting of a ship. Hence the word, the tree's sons. The tree's sons, because the sons of the trees cut the trees to make ships. They are trees' sons, and that's where we get the word treason from, because the merchants and the seafarers were always doing the bidding of the ancient Aryan. They were the craftsmen. They were the special, perked, and privileged warfaring class, and got to reign as puppet kings and petty chieftains. So treason due to greed and commerce in ocean rule. See letter C for Lucifer, and raft for reft of any light. Raft is reft. I guess you were reft from the ship. Then we should talk about cruiser. I guess one more, cruiser, because they're cruising, babe, right? The cruiser. They're cruising, and their patrol car having a party. And so see chilling effect, deputy dog, dogs of the priesthood, and dog tags. Okay, and so there's our piracy of words. Always on the high seas, always in rough waters. And what are we going to do, ladies and gentlemen? What are we supposed to do? Well, I guess we just have to keep on moving on. And you are tuned in right here to the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network. And don't forget, you are welcome to call in if you have a comment or a question. I'd love to hear from you. I want to welcome any new listeners we have. And if you have a great life history, love to hear it. Okay, because like I said at the beginning of the program, the best way to uncover the the great mystery is as Socrates said, if you keep putting a question towards something, you ultimately get the answer, and that's called the Socratic reasoning. But by identifying the lies, the great lies of history, then we can start unraveling the truth of our history and of our past. We're piercing a dark veil. Yeah, dog tags. That's right. They're dogs. The priesthood are the dogs. God backwards is dog. They send their puppies to war. They hope they'll never come back. That's why they put red coats on them. You put your red coat on with your white trimmies, and now go try standing behind a tree, while actually you're going to stand in a straight line and march forward without moving. Don't flinch, and that'll let them use up their bullets on you. And then after they run out of bullets, then those of you that are left, kill them. So they did it by numbers. It's a numbers game, right? And they got them off the island as quick as they could. I guess so they could have all the women. I'm not sure, but it's just part of the depopulation program that was pointed out by Montesquieu in the book *The Spirit of the Law*, out of France, circa 1700s. Uh, Montesquieu said that for uh, that all of the wars for the past 2,000 years have served for none other reason than to be as depopulation programs for one another's nations. Because the truth was, there are no enemies. They were all, all of the illuminated that moved into Europe were all interbred, all the royal, the regal, all one clique. One click. That's right. And so, and they put the people on the front line, created phony wars, the greatest mind control. That was just another version of another version, mind control. So, okay, and we'll go now to our book review. And don't forget, if you're new to following the program, then the best place to start to catch up with our current program, because I gave a lot out of the in the beginning, those first 2 weeks. You got to work your way through them, because I unloaded so many of the things that nobody else is saying, literally. And so that'll give you a really profound perspective and foundation to work from when you're following what I'm talking about later on, without sometimes qualifying it. Robert F. Kennedy, he had an interesting quote. Remember him? Us later generation folks that are still around, we remember the Kennedys very well in our small early lives, when we were so young and impressionable about these great people, these icons, and how Kennedy, was killed first, and then his brother, the Attorney General. I mean, these two were such a great team, taking back America from the banking criminals. But so then, after his brother is killed, Robert F. Kennedy decides to run for office, and because he loves America, he's not in it for the money, that's for sure, or the fame. So, but Robert F. Kennedy, here in the Real Da Vinci Code Etymological Dictionary, page 151, Robert F. Kennedy says, "I found out about something that I never knew before. I had found out that my world was not the real world. 1968. I found out about something that I never knew before. I found out that my world was not the real world. Kind of sounds about right, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Sounds about right. It's not our world. It's a tough world. It's a tough world for a lot of people. Right out the gate. Hang on, I'm turning on some light. Tell you what, I think before I start reading this next piece, I'm just going to go to a song to pace myself, all right? And again, you are welcome to call in and, with a comment or a question, or you can do it right in the chat. You can put a question there, but put the word question in all capital letters. That way I don't miss it, okay? Because a lot of that stuff passes by. I get Google-eyed when I start looking over there, okay? Thank you. And you are tuned in right here. TheRealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. I see your question, Ninja. I'll get it as soon as I come on back, okay? And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the broadcast, the deprogramming program. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here on the Forbidden History series, twice a day when we're up to speed, and otherwise usually at least once a day, coming your way. And want to welcome our new listeners. I see we have a new friend jumping on. I think it's a friend of Yah Loves, Jonathan Mac Timus, I guess is how you say it. I don't know if you're from Europe. Are you from Europe, Jonathan? Where are you at? And I'm here in central Ohio, okay? Beautiful country, in the heart of Amish country. Okay, the echinacea tea, thank you. That's a good idea. Yeah, I just got to start taking some of that. I ran out of everything, basically. But before the question disappears, I got to find Ninja. And thank you for that, Jedi. Yeah, I just got to ramp up a few things. So Ninja Cat. Okay, I'm still catching up today, but I came across the word Amin, being connected from Amen, which refers to Ra. Is this true? Well, yeah, in the there's a parallel within the culture of Mitzrayim, which is the original name, not Egypt, never was Egypt. Mitzrayim, there is a parallel because remember, Lucifer is clothed with the light, so their culture is putting on the aura of following Osiris, the great savior of mankind, the creator of mankind. And so let me back up to the question again. So amen, they say, means so be it. But I finally concluded, and just recently actually, that the real implication of it means let there be light. So let there be light is the best thing to say instead of a word that does not give bearing. Because we're supposed to get meaning and bearing. And so since there is also a conflict with the origin of somehow being a part of that culture, therefore deriving more negative connotation than a positive. Uh, and the words Ra, is not evil by himself either. Ra is just, you can see it's the prime root of Ray, R-A-Y, meaning a ray of light. Ra, is the light in the metaphor, you see, and so it has to do with spirit and the sun, Osiris. All of the same symbolism, metaphors we find in our Christianity. So nothing evil by itself, but it tells a story when it comes out of that tradition. In other words, if you studied the Book of the Dead and read the mythologies by Budge, the former director of the British Museum, Budge, I started reading his work, and the translations of the Mitzrayim, not Egypt, Mitzrayim. I'll tell you, they've done a number on our history. They've covered the trail very well. But anyway, we're getting back on the trail here. Okay, and so thank you. I hope I answered your question, Ninja. Okay, and I think Mew Mew was saying something about calling in, so nothing to be nervous about, Mew Mew. Okay, I don't know if you're going to do it on Skype or on the phone. Where's my phone? Hang on. There it is. Okay. So in the meantime, I'm going to then go into the Real Da Vinci Code etymological dictionary, and I just shared that quote of Robert Kennedy with you. Now, one more light. We should be good. Okay, there we go. Oh, and then I found down here on the same page, because we just did the thing with the Khazars. We went over the people that call themselves Jews today are actually the Aryan Khazars. Okay, from from Turkey and the Caspian Sea, the foothills of the Caucasus Mountains, and so these are they're pseudo Israel. There is no Israel. Okay, looks like we got a call. I'm gonna bet this is Mew Mew. Can I help you? Hello? I'm not hearing a voice. Anybody there? Come in. Hello, I almost hear somebody. Are you there? Try calling back. Try calling back. I think that's probably Mew Mew, but I'm not hearing anything. Call back, Mew Mew. Okay, I disconnected, and we'll see if it works this time. Let's see. Are you there? Let me got to check the board there. Where's Mew Mew? Uh, uh, all right. One more time. Can I help you?
Hello.
Is this Mew Mew?
Hello.
Yeah, it is. Right.
Hang on, I'm just going to shut the stream down so we don't get
You got to turn down the stream all the way, Mew Mew. When you're on the phone, you can't listen to the computer. You got to turn it down.
Yeah, I've turned it right down, so
Okay.
so I can hear you a bit better
Yeah,
now.
that's a little confusing. So how are you doing out there in the UK?
I'm not in the UK.
Oh, you're not. That's right. You said something about you were in my time zone, right?
I'm on New York time, more or less, I guess. Eastern Standard Time, I think you call it.
Oh, it's your accent that's throwing me off. I'm thinking when I hear your voice on your YouTube channel, you're in the UK, right?
I know. It's very confusing. No, I was born in England, and I was born in the Midlands, actually. And my accent actually comes from the south because my family moved a lot of times when I was young, and we ended up living on the outskirts of London. I guess we moved when I was about, oh goodness, 11 years old. So I sort of grew up in the London suburbs on the outskirts of London. So I got the British accent from there. But I can also speak Brummie. I still remember that.
And it's a pretty good British accent, I should add. So, but where are you?
Well, I'm actually in Venezuela, but I don't make a big thing about it. Because,
where? Wait a minute. Where?
Venezuela.
Oh, you're in Venezuela. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I
another.
try and keep it
Go ahead.
under my hat because there's a lot of people. Well, things have got
very bad.
Difficult here.
Very bad. Yeah.
And people are sort of, well, you know, it's the political problems, really.
It's always political, always, right?
Sorry?
It always seems to be that way, political.
It's horrible, you know. I mean, when I first came here, I just fell in love with this place because the people were all so nice, so friendly, so innocent, always smiling, always helped you. There was absolutely no prejudice. The children were, well, I mean, the young students that I had for English classes were just delightful, you know, and the family values were so much more than, well, like I remember them when I was little, if you know what I mean. And so I loved this place, but you know, as time went by, the rift started to get bigger and bigger, and now people argue, and there's people suffering so much here because of all the problems. I mean, the inflation is just beyond belief, really. You just can't imagine. No one can imagine what's happening here. Nobody. But that's not why I called. I don't like to talk about where I am and my problems. That's not why I called at all. So sorry for that. It's your fault for asking me where I was. Right.
Well, no, it's great. Well, see, one more time. We have somebody, you know, that's in an extreme environment. It's interesting because Ninja, you know, was in one situation, and then you are now in, you know, like the worst country to be in, next to an Islamic State, I guess, you know, but because of the what do you want to say, the entire breakdown of your commercial structure, and therefore the political, and just and you're right in the middle of all that, right?
Yeah, and the commercial powers that be are actually controlling the whole situation, including the banks. The pensioners have to queue up the night before now to get their pension, because if they're too far back in the queue, there's not enough money. The bank doesn't have enough money to give out, because the commercial people are hiding it all in boxes, shoe boxes, so that the banks don't have any cash. I haven't had cash since before Christmas last year. It's a very, very difficult situation for a lot of people, especially the artisans and my friends who live in the streets. You know, they are fishermen. You know, they're street people who work very, very hard, and of course they need cash. I helped one of my friends get a bank card the other day, and I was so chuffed. It's because sometimes I can't keep up with all the videos and everything, because I'm out trying to help people the best I can, you know, every day. But it's not why I called. I don't want to talk about it.
No, but we appreciate the insight. This is important to hear from somebody that's there versus from any media source, you know.
Well, the media, they just talk a lot of rubbish about us. They really do. I mean, it makes me angry. I don't watch the TV anymore. I mean, people like, you know, the fake news media. It just makes me cry, or it makes me angry. And I don't like aggression. I don't like aggression of any sort. And so I just have to go and do some gardening or something, get away from it. Can't. They just talk so much rubbish. They really, really do. But you know, well, we're coping, and there's a lot of lovely people here. People say to me, "Oh, when are you going to go home?" As far as I'm concerned, this is my home, and I'm happy here. I have a roof over my head. I have my animals. I have a lovely friend who I met a few years ago, and he is an absolute angel. That's Massa. You heard me saying I had to cook his dinner the other night.
Yeah.
He works all night, and he sleeps all day. But he's my rock, really. He helps me with things that I can't manage sometimes, and he's great support. You know, I love him dearly.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to call it was I've been listening to a lot, and I can't always comment. As you know, the other day I was listening, but I couldn't type any comments.
Yeah.
I believe that I am here for a reason, and for many years I struggled to understand what he wanted me to do. You know, why? You know, the constant whys were there every day. I was so grateful for being here and having what I have, but what was my mission? What was it that I was meant to do with my life? And I think I finally come across, well, what I should be doing. And so I feel happy. I'm ready, you know. And it's taken me practically all my life since I was 5 years old when I became vegetarian. Something happened to me. My first encounter, I suppose, with my creator, and I became vegetarian. I started going to Sunday school and studying all sorts of religions, and also reading a lot about the other crafts side. By the time I was 16, there wasn't much I didn't know about witchcraft and other religions too. And I started then, when I got to the age of 14, I started studying ancient history.
Yeah. And hold that thought a minute. Ancient history. Now, somebody just give me an audio check for Mew Mew, and let me know, is she 10 being best? How is she coming through on the number 10 being best? Okay, because I just Mew Mew, just try to speak up, breathe deep, but be forceful with your voice. You're pretty good, but a little bit could help. Okay, please continue.
Okay.
Please continue.
Okay.
You got in history.
Uh-huh. ancient history. I had a passion when I started reading books. I was born with a problem. Sometimes I have a problem breathing, and I forget how to breathe. I don't know what the infirmity is called, but my mother said the first time I did it, I went blue, and she pulled me out of my high chair and shook me, and I started breathing again. Sometimes I do it in the night, but now I've got used to it over the years. But I got dyslexia because of it, and I'm number blind. I can't remember numbers to save my life. Ninja will tell you this. I'm so slow sometimes. I get lost in the chat rooms because I'm desperately trying to keep up.
You and me both, Mew Mew. You and me both, okay?
but the one thing I did have a gift for was remembering what people said to me and remembering words. So although I couldn't read very well because of the dyslexia, I could remember passages from the Bible. I could remember rhymes and ditties and songs and all sorts of things. And so I got a passion for reading. Although it took me a long time to read, I did start to read at an early age. And to me, the ancient history just didn't click. It was like there were bits missing. And I kept going back and trying to work out, because the numbers didn't make any sense to me. Like, for instance, Noah. I'm not very good with the numbers, so correct me better with the numbers. But how on earth did he live so long? Because when you read through, it looks like he lived for about 200 years or something. So I kept going back and thinking, well, I don't understand. And so
yeah.
I started, when I was 12 years old, I actually started learning about the ancient Egyptians and also the Incas. And I was fascinated by the fact that so many of these so distant civilizations were connected. They all seemed to do the same things and build the same types of structures. And I thought, well, how is this? You know, I don't understand. The Mayans also, I was fascinated about that. So that's where I started along this path of constantly looking for to fill in the blanks, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you just simply wanted to know, right?
I wanted to know. I was just very inquisitive, always have been.
That's the way little ones are supposed to be, right? Why? They always ask the question, why, right?
I've read a lot of I've read Sitchin and Robert Schoch and a lot of others, and there still seems to be these sort of, I don't know, these gaps. I always had this desire to go to Machu Picchu, but I've got this far, but I haven't actually made it as far as Machu Picchu yet. And I don't know if I can do it now. I don't think I would be able to make the journey up, because it's very high up.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
The breathing problem would
be. We'll have to do it from the armchair. It's nice that way too, you know.
So I've always been fascinated in exploration, and I've travelled to a lot of places in the world. I've been all over the world, mostly on my own. Travelled on my own. Even in England, I went to places like Cornwall and Wales and Scotland. I used to put a suitcase in the boot of the car. This would be when I was about 18, I guess, 18, 19, and just go wherever the spirit took me. The New Forest, beautiful place, I remember. And so I found my faith. No one taught me what to believe. I don't belong to any sects. If people ask me, are you Catholic, are you Jewish, are you Muslim, I say, I don't know. All I know is that I have my faith, and I believe that I'm here for my Creator. My life is not mine; it belongs to Him. And when my number's up, it'll be up, and I'll say thank you so much for all the wonderful days that I've had. And that's it. I don't worry about anything else. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
But the strange thing is, when I came to Venezuela about a year after I arrived, my husband, we'd been married for 12, 13 years, very happily. And he met a young girl, very young girl, who stole his heart, and he couldn't cope with it, and so he left. I told him to go and make a life with her, and they did, and it broke me up. I thought my world had come to an end, and I cried a lot, but I let them go, and I wished them well, and I'm still in touch with both of them, although they're not together now. And about a year after I was here, I couldn't speak the language, and people were very kind to me because, of course, Spanish is the language here, and I've never been good at learning any sort of languages. And someone attacked me, and it was a very scary experience. And he tried to strangle me, and as the air was disappearing from my lungs, and I could feel my head. It felt like it was going to explode. I said to God, thank you so much for everything you've given me, but please, can I have a bit more time? And the guy let go. It was the most uncanny experience I can't explain.
Yeah.
But he let go, and I fell to the ground. He then attacked me a bit more, which I won't go into. And then he stole my bag and ran off.
Yeah.
And I found my way out.
Right. But before you go further, repeat exactly what you said to him when he had his neck around your throat. Thank you for everything that you've given me, my life. But please give me a little bit more time. Give me a chance. Give me a little bit more time. So it was more a prayer. It was a prayer to the Father above, not to the man.
Yeah, it was a prayer. I've always talked to him like he's a person. I don't do all these prayer type things.
It's real. It's real. I got it.
I talk to him. If I have something on my mind, if I'm a bit worried about something, I talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always right with us. There's no time he's not. Go ahead.
All the time, everywhere. He knows everything, and I know that he knows your heart. That's the main thing. I've done bad things in my life. Goodness me, I'm not perfect. I think actually I'm probably more destined to go to hell than I will to heaven. But I don't mind if he says no, and he doesn't say come in. I will accept it. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it at all because, I've had a great life and met some wonderful, wonderful people along the way. And that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? So the man let go, and I was amazed. And after that, I knew that he had put me here to continue with something, to do something, and that's what I've been trying to do over the last few years. I've been trying to build a community service here to help those people who helped me when I was down, And I think it's my mission. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
That's what I believe anyway. And it's a hard life, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, okay, very good. Yeah, you have quite a strong quality of character that been going through all this. And Teresa, wherever she is, says, I don't think there is a hell. And no doubt hell is the grave. Hell, Sheol, Hades, all means the grave. And therefore, that's the created by Babylon. This whole concept of hell and damnation. It's the divine will that we all transcend. And certainly the good news Yeshua brought to the Buddhists was, hey, you don't have to keep coming back 1,000 times. You can put on the perfection of Yahweh, Yahweh, and transcend this world, and don't have to come back. That's the good news. You don't have to come back.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, this is, one of the first religions I studied was Druidism, and of course the Druids believed that there was this sort of waiting room, which was a bit like a waiting room, if you like, for a hospital, where you could either go on to heaven, or you could come back as a spirit into a tree or a stone or another animal. And so I don't know if I believe in reincarnation as such, but I do believe that there is a spiritual world that is there around us all the time. It is part of God's presence, and people just don't see it. I see it sometimes, but not all the time. But when I do, it touches me. It really touches me. I love all things, and I mean, even spiders. I'm absolutely terrified of spiders. I can't get near them, but I don't hate them. I actually don't think I can hate anything or anyone. I don't ever remember having the feeling of hate. I've disliked people, and people have upset me deeply. But I don't know. I don't know how hate actually works. I don't know. I don't understand the word hate, but it hurts me when I see people hurting each other. It really, it physically hurts me. It really, really upsets me when I see people hurting each other and being unkind to I can't explain it. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? So
oh, absolutely.
Rambling.
No, absolutely. I think when I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking it comes from the womanhood, the more gentle nature of the woman. Therefore, you don't know where these things come from because they're not a part of your life. So there's that purity of the original woman is still there, where others want to be witches. You even indulged into other esoteric stuff, but ultimately it seems you could not be influenced by the darkness, so that's a good thing.
Yes, and I believe there's a lot of rules that people should be aware of as well. You talk about the words and
speak up.
You know what they do, and of course the Druids never actually wrote their history down. They never wrote things down because they believed that if you wrote it down, it could be misused. It could be manipulated and transformed into something evil. And there's, of course, a lot of religions that I think they used symbolism to protect the innocent. And I think a lot of times language can be really twisted and distorted to hurt people and mislead people. I really believe that wholeheartedly. And when you talk to people face to face. I like communication with people when you can talk on the phone or you can talk face to face, because you can really see the real person. I hate emails. I hate voicemails. I don't know what I say hate. I dislike emails intensely because you can't put any emotion in. Was it Teresa? She said, I don't have any emojis on my phone. I wholeheartedly relate to that. I don't like my laptop because I can't put little smiley faces and hearts and things to try and express how I am talking on my laptop, and that's why I use my phone. Ninja and I have fun because she'll find an emoji before me, and then I say, right, I'm looking, and I'll go and I'll look and I'll look, and then finally I'll find it. It's because for me that's part of communicating. It's part of showing people, not just saying the words, but feeling the words and really communicating with people. That to me is what I'm all about, communication. I guess I want to bring people together. That's my channel. My New News is about hopefully introducing people to people that wouldn't have otherwise met. And I've met some fantastic, such kind-hearted people out there that are all trying their best, like you, to help enlighten people. If enlighten is the right word, I don't know, does it?
Well, we sure don't want the word educate, so we figured that one out, okay?
No, educate, no. I was terrible at school. I used to stand in the corner most of the time, and I was always the one that was accused of doing something bad. I was the inevitable naughty child, I was. Yeah. Probably because, well, I was always questioning them. And especially, history, I was the worst history student ever, and they didn't like me at all. Geography, I loved geography. I was fascinated by geography. Maths, well, I wasn't very good at maths either. But no, I wasn't very good at school, and being at boarding school as well, that was an amazing experience for me, and probably gave me my ability to cope with bullies. I was bullied, of course, because I was slow learner. You know, I wasn't backward, but I wasn't really very bright either. So yeah, education. Wow. Well, I don't know. There are some people that believe there's a lot more to the world than we have been told, and I agree with that. 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Wow. So where are we at? In this situation in Venezuela, are we getting any better or getting worse or what?
No, it's well, the opposition they seem to be, the good thing is the opposition has been running out of money, because of course they were funded by a man who I shan't mention his name, but they were being paid dollars to get out in the streets and cause a lot of mayhem. Some very nasty things went on. That's dropped off a bit now. They've gone into another type of psychological war, which doesn't cost them so many dollars. But it's just the problem now is the fact we can't afford to buy anything. When you earn, well, the wage here is probably a basic wage, which has been protected by the government, is about now 8 million, which has gone up since last year. It was about 8,000, now it's 8 million. Yeah. But a loaf of bread is 1,200,000. A loaf of bread.
Yeah, they need to have all those zeros on it, right?
All the zeros, yeah. They're going to knock the zeros off. But of course this won't make any difference. Yeah. Because nobody will be earning any more. They're just going to knock the zeros off because the banks have a problem with the producing enough notes. But it's not going to change the situation any at all. Dear Massa, I do feel for him because he thought they were going to knock all the zeros off, but he was still going to continue to earn $8 million a month. I said, no, your salary will be chopped as well. And his face, oh, bless him, he looked at me and he said, no, that can't be. That's not.
Yeah, it sounds like the people here in the States who are following the dinar, and every Monday, oh, it's cashing in. We're going to, I'm going to have $10 million, $100 million. And I said, man, this dinar has turned out to be the biggest scam in monetary history. They got people to give their worthless paper for even more worthless paper that will never do anything but become toilet paper,
Yeah. Well, last year, the government decided they were going to set up this cryptocurrency because crypto had been doing quite well. Bitcoin and the lithium and everything had been doing very well. So they set up Petro, the Petro, what do you call it, crypto. And they offset the value of the petro with, of course, the major export of Venezuela, which, of course, is the crude oil for petroleum, which was a brilliant idea. But, of course, now OPEC are being attacked because they're trying to control the prices, and there are certain powers that be, I won't mention any names, that don't like that. So this has caused a big war, and now, of course, the petro is struggling. But I thought that was quite a good idea that they had, because it meant it could sort of help us struggle out of the hole a little bit. But now I don't know. I think actually China are probably winning this battle on the crypto side. But we've got crypto banking here now. I have a plastic card which I use when I need to help people with social services. They get bonuses from the government, so the government will give them money to help them buy food for their cats and dogs or their children or whatever. And these bonuses are given onto the plastic card, and then you can use that to pay for goods to buy food with, which is brilliant. So there's no cash involved, there's no bank involved. It's a wonderful idea, and it's helped a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it is sort of crypto. I can't do it myself. I need help. You're meant to be able to do it with your mobile phone, but of course you have to put all these numbers in
I look at it, and I'm not a geek either, so I need someone to walk me through it if I'm doing it.
It's completely beyond me. Well, Massa, he's great at it. He understands how to do that. But me, of course, I get very lost. But it's a great idea. Whether it's going to get us through this I don't know. I really don't know. I hope so.
Yeah.
But I think it looks like the US are going towards the crypto route as well. By the looks of the dollar,
well, I don't think we're gonna have much longer to be concerned. I don't know if me and me watch Mr. MBB333, but
yeah,
you do.
I've watched him for years.
Oh, really? Well, did you see the one he just put out?
He never responds to me now. He has too many people on his channel. And,
right. Did you see the one with the dog where the skin came off the back of the dog being out in the sun?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's done a lot of strange stuff with animals, hasn't he? That he's been putting on his website. And that's another thing. What I was saying about noticing the spirit around us. The animals are affected, and I used to have lots of butterflies here and bees, and I don't see them anymore. I wonder where they've gone.
Yeah.
But yes, I like his channel. I also like Tyler's channel, though, Secure Team.
Yeah.
I watch almost all of his videos. I think his work is amazing, and I like the way that he presents, because he doesn't actually force people to take his opinion on anything, which I like. He always tries to be, what's the word I'm thinking of? I forget my English words sometimes. Very matter of fact about the evidence he puts forward, and I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Ninja too. She's recently been doing some amazing videos where she talks you through it and explains, and I love that. Because I do need a bit of help, but once I'm sort of, focused, and I do the squint,
yeah.
I can see, and I like that. For me, I feel like I'm winning. The worst thing for me is when people ignore me, or they think I'm someone I'm not, and that hurts me.
Yeah.
Because it hurts me because I feel like I failed. They don't really know me, and that's bad.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you have others from your home turf down there with you that you socialize with, or you're strictly a foreigner down there?
Sorry. Say again. My dog's barking.
Yeah.
Arriving.
No, I was just saying. Is there an expat patriot society there from England, from you, or is it just a mix? You're just there with a mix of people.
There used to be. We used to have a lot of tourists here, and I had a lot of friends who spoke English, like from Germany, Holland, Norway, all over the world, English too. But unfortunately, most of them have either passed away or left. I have 2 friends left here now that speak English.
Okay. Well,
it's incredible, I know, but it's true.
All right. Well, Mew Mew, is there any final thoughts you want to share, talk to our friends here on the program today, or anything else?
No, I think I've taken up enough of your time, and I just wanted to say to everybody that I'm so grateful that I've met you all, and I'm going to try and continue little by little to show you who I am, and how much I want to help, and thank you for being there, and thank you for your channel too. I know I don't always make it. I didn't last night. I was very tired last night. We had a power cut. It was raining, and by the time the power came back on, I just thought, no, it was just coming up for 11 o'clock, and I just didn't have the energy. But the morning ones, I normally, if I don't have to leave the house early, I can make it, or at least listen and catch up later on in the day. But yes, thank you everybody. I love you all, and let's keep up the good work.
Absolutely. So Mew Mew, thank you so much for being brave to call in today, and you're down there in a rough area, so always keep us up to date on any news event, anything going on, because the news is probably censored and controlled, therefore we don't really know. So an inside scoop would be nice if you have anything major going on. If you need relief, people to help, this is the place to put out a message, and I'm sure a few people could possibly come through if you're in an emergency. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we can't actually get packages anymore. I stopped the packages coming in around about January. And of course, I can't use foreign money. I don't have a credit card. So just want people's support, really.
Yeah.
That's all. I can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah.
And it gives me the strength to go on if I feel I'm helping other people make friends and feel positive. Have a bit of a laugh. Sometimes laughing helps. That's all that I want, really. But yes, I will try and keep you informed, and don't listen to everything that they say about us on the news, because a lot of it's not true.
Right.
Some very nice people here, and they don't deserve the lot they've been given over the last few years.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay, Mew Mew, thank you again for taking the time and for reaching out. Okay, and so be well there, and remember that the sun is just it's not the same sun anymore. So we've got to stay out of it as much as we can. Right.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Yeah. We're going down. We're going down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, don't be afraid. It's the fear that they control you with,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I've been sick of this place for at least 3 decades now. So I just can't. I'm not going to miss this place at all. It's so deplorable what they do to children and to our environment. When they used to want to come with their agents and beat us up for not mowing our grass or possibly endangering the tsetse mosquito, that is in the back swamp area. Then they beat us up, and now they've destroyed our entire world. What an irony! They've been in our face all of our lives with their nonsense. There's communistic, fascist, totalitarian, pathetic nature.
Yeah. George Orwell was one of my favorite authors when I was about 15 years old. And what can I say? Well, you're right. But if we stand together, we have the strength to get through it. I think that's all you can say. And it's very sad to see that there's a lot that are not doing so well. And my heart goes out to the children, especially. I'm afraid I'm not able to watch some of it, even though I know it's going on.
Yeah.
It's not because I don't care. It's probably because I care too much, and it upsets me too much. But yes, I agree.
Okay. All right. We'll look forward to hearing from you again. I know we'll see you on the chat board, right?
Matt has just arrived. You probably heard me.
Okay.
In the kid.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Look. I'm going to go and
right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, and catch you all very, very soon.
Thank you for reaching out, Mew. It's been great.
You.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That's from Venezuela. Geez, we never know where somebody's calling from, ladies and gentlemen. I thought she was in England all of this time with that beautiful accent, and we find out that no, she's from south in Eastern time, right there in Venezuela, straight down south of me in South America. So, okay. And there was a question, 10-4. What does 10-4 mean? That means like Roger, got it. That's my our trucking lingo. I used to be a truck driver, so I always say 10-4. Get it? All right, Anna. Very good. And don't remember where you're from. I assume the U.S., but we got people from everywhere. That's kind of exciting. So, and her channel again is Mew if you're only able to listen to the audio and don't see the spelling of things. It's MIU KOO, 3 words. MIU KOO, Mew. Okay. All right. That's her channel. And so we're in the history of the church now. And hello to Sundog, good to have you. And I got my light turned on. I think I got enough light. The history of the church with Eusebius, and I think John or Jonah wanted to call in. The line's open if somebody wants to do a follow up. There was somebody else that wanted to call in. One of our new friends here, if he's still around. Okay, and otherwise I'll get into the history of the church and Eusebius, who took the entire library over to Constantinople, Turkey, stole the Eastern Church's library, took it to the West. The famine in Claudius's time, martyrdom of James, Jacob, punishment of Agrippa. The reign of Gaius had not yet lasted 4 years when he was succeeded by an emperor as emperor by Claudius. In his time, famine descended on the entire world, a fact which writers whose point of view is very different from ours have recorded in their histories. Thus, the prediction of Agabus in the Acts of the Apostles about the famine and that was to occur all over the world received its fulfillment. The famine in Claudius's time is indicated by in the Acts by Luke, who relates how by Paul and Barnabas, the Christians in Antioch, each according to his means, sent help to those in Jutha. He continues. At that time, obviously, that of the Claudius, King Herod made a determined attack on certain members of the body of the called out ones, the church, killing Yaakov, James, the brother of Yochanan, John, with the headsman's sword. Referring to this, James Clement, looks like we got a call. Yes, can I help you?
Hello?
Can I help you?
Yeah. Is this Desert Owl?
It is. Who's this?
This is John. I was just listening to the show.
Yeah, John, you're on the broadcast right now with us. Good to have you, and thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. I just got introduced to your show recently. I have my own channel.
Yeah.
And I've been exploring a lot of the same kinds of topics, and I thought it was really interesting. I listened to you the other day, and you said that you've produced an etymology dictionary.
Yes.
Which I plan on getting as soon as possible. Wow. So, all right, let me do this. You said that you wanted people to call in that were aware of lies, just to talk to
the great lies of history. Yeah.
Any lies, yeah.
Yeah, and John, just real quick before you go there, I just want to say, and this is being recorded so you can play it back, but you go to therealpublicradio.net, publicradio.net, and then any size donation, we send a copy to by PDF. It's 8.5 by 11 PDF, 300 pages. So and if somebody doesn't have the funny money, then they can just ask for it, and I'll send it to them. Okay. So anyway, be glad to get you a copy after the program. Your call.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that a lot. In fact, that's what I've spent most of my time doing, is looking at language, the etymology of words. And I didn't start out that way. I don't have any background in that. So I'm not claiming to be an expert on it at all. But I would say the two biggest lies that I'm aware of in history, besides a lot of history itself, would be, I guess to put it simply, that for one thing, Hebrew doesn't have any vowels. That would be a huge lie, and it permeates because you're aware of how religion, Christianity, Catholicism, and Islam being some of the largest religions in the world, and all of them having a similar root, and of course Judaism. So it permeates a lot. Essentially, the lie being that the Masoretes standardized the language from the 7th to 10th century, and that we can trust their interpretation and standardization of the language, or any lexicography that has been written and produced since that time. That would be one lie. And I'm sorry, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm not in front of my computer.
Yeah.
I've got my wife and son are,
right.
and he's almost 3, kind of running around, so it'd be chaos.
Yeah. Okay. Well, John, let's back up because I want to make sure I got you correctly. So you're talking about the period of the formation of Israel after they came through the wilderness, and because you referred to the Nazarite and therefore the priesthood and all that. So the development of the culture is not what it's being made out to be. I just want to make sure I recognize what you.
No, I think that the development of the culture is what it looks like in what we have available to us as far as scripture.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't talk too much about what other books might be available to us that might also be scripture that just wasn't included in our accepted 66 book canon. But no, I think that's all accurate in as much as anyone can understand what's being said.
Right. Well, my position would be that virtually everything is under the control and manipulation of man and priesthood, and therefore, a lot of questions have to be thrown at things in order to find the answers. But the manipulation, has always been there. There's probably other than maybe at the very inception when Moses is coming out of Mitzrayim, it never was called Egypt, and then they get to the wilderness and they're there for 40 years. So I think, but it always seems there's this antithesis group who is always there causing trouble, and then and it's always gone in the south direction. And Yahweh knew that it would happen with Israel because they were only destined for a temporary moment of use anyway. It was to tell his story about the metaphor and of transcendence, right?
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you're saying about man and what man does to the truth. I do believe that Yahweh Elohim has preserved his truth. I don't believe that the characters as we know them today are an accurate reflection of what they once were, or the language, how we understand it, even syntactically, is the same as it was once understood. I think that the Israelites and then later the Judahites, I think they had a hand themselves in perverting Yahweh's word. He says that repeatedly throughout the scriptures. But I guess what I was concentrating more on is this idea that that from the 7th to 10th century, and this is the way that the tradition goes, is that from the 7th to 10th century AD, that this group of rabbis, they standardized the text, and the need for their standardization was precipitated by the Hebrew text not containing vowels. So they said that they had to standardize it so that we would have a standard across-the-board pronunciation platform within to work. They did this through their Masorah, which were the Nakud that they add all over the place on top of the text.
What you just mentioned, mentioned would be vowel points, right?
Yeah. That they call them their Nakud or Nikudot. And I don't believe those are necessary to understand the text. I believe that was actually a system that was developed and implemented to hide the text.
Well, right. Well, the way the ancients read, and forgive me, I'll interject. The way the ancients originally read was they interjected the vowels as they read the consonantal words. They were just consonants on the page. Breathe, the vowels are the breath of light. They breathe light into the words, and therefore changing the sounds phonetically, creates different meaning in the words. Bottom line, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of this, what you're saying, is I think it's connected in a way to that language group. So we could call it Shemitic language group.
Well, I call it Aramaic. Whether we're talking about the European or the Hebrew or Greek, or Latin, it's all, and even what they call Sanskrit, I call Pseudo-Sanskrit, all is from the same Indo-Germanic parent root, and Aramaic is another word for it. Mm.
Right. The characters as we see them today definitely reflect an Aramaic character, or they would seem to, based on what I've seen of Aramaic. But there have been older characters, whether they're trustworthy or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've looked through enough old texts that I could get a hold of, or fragments of old characters. And when I say character, I mean the letter, because I believe that the source language was actually more pictographic or iconographic, very much like Chinese is understood, to where you wouldn't need a lexicon. You wouldn't need a lexicon written by men to understand what those words were saying, because they were idiomatic.
Yeah, those primitive root symbols. You mean primitive root symbols, right?
You sort of, yeah. What I've come to call them is elemental ideographs.
Right, or also they're called parent roots. The parent root.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I guess it would be difficult to only talk about that because, like I said, it's permeated into so much. If we don't understand the language, like this isn't, they don't broadcast this fact, but anybody who's actually a student of polemics against Hebrew or Christianity will tell you this, like Muslim scholars, is that there's 20% of all the words. There's 8,674 words listed as Hebrew words used in the accepted 39 books of the Old Testament. 20% of those are admitted as unknown or dubious lexicography. Now, where I think this comes into play is other elements of history and geography, specifically the events in the Bible not happening in the Middle East, happening elsewhere. And if you have control over the words and how the words are interpreted, if you have control over the lexicon and they're agreed upon, even for centuries, and you have changed the interpretation, the understanding of the characters so that people understand the words differently, or in the case of most of our English translations, if you're able to tweak words like, say, Oribe, which should actually be like plain or horizon, you can tweak that and you can turn that into desert if you want it to feel more Middle Eastern. Just like what you mentioned with Mitzrayim. It's the land that they were in for some time. It was never called Egypt. It's called Mitzrayim. And then when we get into the New Testament with the Greek, of course, it's called Aegyptos. And even the source of that is dubious when you look into the traditions of how it even got its name, Egypt. So I don't believe those events happened in the Middle East, and I think there's a lot of material within the text that tells us that it didn't happen there because geographically it doesn't match Palestine and outlying areas.
Okay, well, hold it right there, Jonathan. So just to qualify it, so you're saying that the narrative in the story dealing with Israel and the Exodus and all that happened somewhere else?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, you've not seen the evidence of the chariot wheels under the Sea of Aqaba, which means the water of souls.
I have.
Okay, and you've seen the real Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia.
I've seen that.
Okay,
I've seen the place they claim is the real Mount Sinai. Yeah.
Well, okay, but then you're also claiming that Jerusalem would not be the center of the earth.
Yeah, I don't think the place that they call today, what was once known as Al-Quds, is the biblical Jerusalem. No.
I see. Well, that's interesting. I've been studying this stuff all my life. And how do you come upon this?
Yeah. Well, it really is in the text, and what I found in the text, not looking at it through a Masoretic lens. And it's not just that. I started seeing these things in the text when I was really just reading it from English translations.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can, like I said, I'm at a disadvantage here. I'm not in front of my computer because I usually put this in document form,
right?
And I don't retain as well, and that's why I put it in document form. So I'm sorry if I fumbled it.
Right. Well, you know, I have my program. I try to keep it within 2 hours, and it's winding down. Is it possible you could follow up with me on this?
Sure. Well, you know, I've got a little bit of time off of work. So whenever your next program is, I can try to call in then. Because I thought this was going a little long. I felt kind of awkward about calling in so late.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do that. You know, feel free to call back tonight, or you can also get with me on the side. You know, whatever. So you're standing alone with this, just as a follow up. In other words, is there a group of people that are following what you're presenting here?
There are some that agree with this. Yeah, there's nothing solidified. I'm not part of a group or anything, and pretty much a loner. And like I said, I know that most people are against me on this. I've known a lot of guys that are very sharp Bible expositors that would disagree with me, but I think the evidence is there in the text.
Oh yeah. Well, I have friends. Forgive me for interrupting, but I have friends, you know, who think you know, Paul, you know, is a bad guy and an infiltrator and all these other things, and yet look at the words that he brings forth. He brings a backbone to the doctrine that you know, surpassed what all the other what we call apostles, you know, were able to write. It looks, at least because we don't have all the other writings, so that's all we have left, right?
Yeah. I think a lot of that is maybe just something getting lost in the preconceived notions of what the source texts were. I think that's part of it. But you know, Peter, you know, I know a lot of people that are sort of against the Pauline authorship, or they think he was an infiltrator or something. Then Peter would have to be counterfeited as well, because he supports Paul and his writing. So, but I understand that, and you know, a lot of us have various points of view, and I'm very open to criticism of my theories. Yeah, we have to get to the truth somehow.
All right. Well, okay, but you see, I base mine on the ancient scriptures and the ancient, all the ancient texts that I've been reading all my life. So, and I know about the, you know, that there has been a manipulation. There are those who want to destroy the tradition of Yeshua, and you know, and what transpired 2,000 years ago, what all of creation was leading up to, you know. So you know, I'd like you to you know, share with me the information, you know, privately, because I you know, don't really you know, feel the need to you know, entertain a theory, you know, because I have more substance than that, and you know, so, but I respect your view, Jonathan. I do. Okay. And everybody's got a different view about many things, you know, but I've been doing this all my life.
When you say theory, you're speaking specifically of the Bible not happening in the Middle East.
Well, I don't know. You used the word theory. So that's, you know, I was quoting you.
Well, there's a lot of theories, and there's a lot of people that are teaching a lot of things they say are truth, but they're honestly theoretical.
Right. Well, mine again is based on scripture and the revelation of Yeshua, the Mashiach, and communication with him. You know, so I have all of my work is evidence of that. You know, relationship, and you know, so no theory for me. It's about knowing. It's about knowing, and it's possible. And the scriptures are the keys. So that's why I never read commentaries. I didn't care what people thought, you know, because I could get it direct from my tree of knowledge, Yeshua.
So no, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So you sound like a great guy, and you know, and we're here trying to serve as far as bring public awareness also to the sky issue. Most of the friends here are
Mhm.
what we call sky watchers, and I've been following them. And then when I went live, they just started jumping on over here. But we have a great
Yeah.
group of people, so you're certainly welcome to come back. But I don't need you, to prove what you're following for me theory, because you know, uh, I have limited time already on the broadcast, and I'm trying to, rebut a lot of the disinformation that's out there. So, and I'm not, putting that label or tag on, what you're sharing here today. But I know it's your conviction, and I do respect that, you know.
Right. Well, it's only theoretical right now because it hasn't been proven.
I see.
Maybe it hasn't. I don't know. Maybe it has.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
if
we'll leave it
you're
there.
interested,
Yeah.
if you're interested, I will share some of this information with you.
Yeah. You can
And I
email
do have
it.
my channel.
Go
My
ahead.
channel is my name. My
Okay.
channel is my name, Jonathan Maximus. I would invite anybody to go there and weigh the material.
Yeah.
And if they can correct me, that's great. I'd love to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jonathan.
And I'll leave it at that.
Good to have you. Thank you for stopping by.
All right. Hey, thank you.
You bet. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. And that was Jonathan. I don't see his name in front of me, so I'll mispronounce it. Anyway, yeah. So, well, somebody who definitely is a deep study in his own right. I can tell that. And so, okay, we were just getting our feet wet in here in the history of the church, and I'll try to. I hope this is a short piece here. Let me see. Not too bad. Okay, so the reign of Gaius had. And again, we're in the famine of Claudius's time, the martyrdom of James, and the punishment of Agrippa. Let's see. Thus, a prediction of Agabus, Acts of the Apostles. I'll just start over here. The reign of Gaius had not yet lasted for years, 4 years, when he was succeeded as emperor by Claudius. In his time, the famine descended on the whole world, a fact which writers whose point of view is very different from ours have recorded in their histories. Thus, the prediction of Agabus in the Acts of the Apostles about the famine that was to occur all over the world received its fulfillment. The famine in Claudius's time is indicated in the Acts by Luke, who relates how by Paul and Barnabas the Christians in Antioch, each according to his means, sent help to those in Judah. He continues. At that time, obviously that of Claudius, King Herod made a determined attack on certain members of the church, killing James, the brother of Yochanan, with the headsman's sword. Referring to this, James Clement in Outline's book 7 tells an interesting story on the strength of an authentic tradition. It appears that men who brought him into court was so moved when he saw him testify that he confessed that he too was a Christian. So they were both taken away together, and on the way he asked James to forgive him. James thought for a moment, and then he said, "I wish you peace," and kissed him, and both were beheaded at the same time. Then, as we read in the second sacred record, Herod, seeing that his action in putting James to death had given satisfaction to the Judeans, had laid hands on Kephe, Peter, as well, clasped him in prison, and was on the very point of perpetrating his murder as well, but for divine intervention. In the night, a royal messenger stood by him, and he was miraculously released from his fetters and set free for the ministry of preaching. It was in this way that Kephe's life, Peter, was ordained by the cosmic realm. The royal Malik's attempt on the king's attempt on the legates, the apostles, the royal messengers brought swift retribution. The avenging minister of divine justice overtook him at once, immediately after his action against the royal messenger, Malachim, apostle, as the narrative of the Acts records. He had set out for Caesarea, and there on an important feast day, adorned with magnificent royal robes, he mounted on a dais, and standing in front of his throne, delivered a harangue, which the entire audience received with thunderous applause. Applause. And as the utterance of a god, not a man. And the inspired record tells us that instantly he was struck by a royal messenger of Yahweh and was eaten up by the parasites that were within him. And he expired. It is remarkable how, in the case of this miracle, also the sacred record is borne out by the account of Josephus, who clearly testifies to the truth in Antiquities, Book 9, where he tells us the amazing story in these words. He had reached the end of his 3rd year as king of all Judah, and he came to the city of Caesarea, formerly known as Stratos Tower. There he was celebrating public games in Caesar's honor, knowing that this was a festival for his safety. It was attended by great numbers of provincial officials and other leading men. On the 2nd day of the game, he put on a robe made entirely of silver, remarkable in texture, and at daybreak entered the theater. There was silver. There the silver was lit up by the flint glint of the sun's rays, and shone dazzlingly, glittering in such a way that those who gazed at it trembled with fear. At once his flatterers shouted aloud from every side. Little did it do him, and hailed him as a god, adding, "Be gracious. Hitherto we have reverenced you as a man. Henceforth we acknowledge you as of more than mortal nature." And the king did not rebuke those people, nor repudiate their blasphemous flattery. A moment later he looked up, and sitting over his head he saw a royal messenger. And this, as he stood, once realized, was the bringer of doom. And he had as he had once been of good. He felt a pang in his breast, and all at once a violent pain gripping his belly, agonizing from start. So looking hard at his friends, he murmured, "I, your God, am now commanded to depart this life, for fate has instantly disapproved the lies you have just told about me. You call me immortal, and now I am being taken away to die. I must bow to destiny, as God has willed it. Anyway, my life has not been a poor one, but has reached the length that people envy." As he said this, the severity of his pain got the better of him, so no time was lost in carrying him into the place, and soon the news reached all the ears that he was bound to die in a matter of hours. By ancestral custom, the crowd at once sat down, women and children as well, on sackcloth, and began to supplicate God for the king, and wailing and lamentation resounded everywhere. Lying in a top floor room and looking down at them as they fell on their faces, the king could not restrain his own tears. For 5 days without intermission, he was tortured by the pain in his belly. Then he passed away in the 54th year of his life and the 7th of his reign. He had reigned for 4 years in the time of Gaius Caesar, ruling Philip's tetrarchy for 3 years, and in the 4th receiving Herod's 2 and 3 more, while Claudius Caesar was emperor. Last paragraph. On these and other matters, Josephus confirms the truth of the sacred scripture in such a way that it surprises me. If regarding the king's title, some consider that there is a discrepancy in his name, the answer is that the date and the facts prove that he is the same. Either the name has been changed by a copyist error, they wouldn't make that mistake, or else, like many others, the same man had 2 names. And next up will be Thutis, the impostor, Queen Helena of Aberdeen. Okay, so that'll be tomorrow. And Okay, and that's Forbidden History. I think I could possibly just do one chapter real quick. Somebody might want to hear how I do the reading in the original thought, and so I've got the voice, I think, and let's pull up just one chapter of the original gospel. Okay, and where are we? Did we leave off in the middle? May have. Let's see here. Okay, I'll just start here. And Yeshua, and we're in the early education of Yeshua. And Yeshua breathed, I do not want a gift. Okay, he just had his, turned 6 years old. He was just offered, or his seventh year, and he was offered, what gift do you want? And he wanted, here it is. Joachim said, my son, today you pass the seventh milestone of your way of life, for you are 7 years of age, and we will give to you as a remembrance of this Dayel whatever you desire. Choose that which affords you the most delight. And Yeshua breathed, I do not want a gift, for I am satisfied. If I could make a multitude of children happy upon this day, then I would be greatly pleased. Now there are many hungry boys and girls in the community of the Nazaré who would be pleased to eat with us this feast and share with us the pleasures of this Dayel. And the richest gift that you can ever give to me is your permission to go out and find these needy ones and to bring them here that they may feast with us. Joachim breathed, it is well. Go out and find the needy boys and girls and bring them here, and we will prepare enough for you all. And Yeshua did not wait, but he ran, and he entered every dingy little hut and cabin on the road, and he did not waste his words, but he told of his mission everywhere. And in a little time, 160 happy, ragged boys and girls were following him up the Marmion Way. The guests made way, and the banquet hall was filled with Yeshua's guests. And Yeshua and his mother helped to serve, and there was food enough for everyone, and everyone was happy. And so the birthday gift of Yeshua was a crown of perfection of light upon his head. And there you got the Forbidden History, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. And want to thank you for tuning in today. It's a wrap for today. We'll be on tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Doing it one more time while we can, ladies and gentlemen. Our days are numbered. And Yah love. Plenty of hearts for you too. Thank you. And Ninja Cat also. It's in everything now. It's been brought to my attention. I'm noticing. Okay. Well, don't forget tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Melody Gillespie, a special 1-hour presentation. Mel's Bar and Grill, where we cook up the attorneys and throw them out the back door. Thank you, Anna. And Lou, thank you as well. Everybody for stopping by. Jodai, okay, you're welcome. Teresa, thank you for stopping by. And I just don't want you to forget, okay? We keep telling you, but you do need to tell your friends, all right? That if you want to know the future, you just need to look for the Forbidden History twice a day. 9 and 9 can't be any easier than that. TheRealPublicRadio.net. Thank you, Yalov. Mimu, thank you. Good. Thank you for calling in today. And we'll see you later on. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Lynn.